Shalom, brethren, and welcome all. Okay, this is an incredibly serious, drastic topic. Let me give at least a 30-second countdown since this is live. So if you're watching it later, you can skip this. Okay. Well, that was interesting. I guess I could have changed the length of it. Yeah. But there's a couple people here, and I have no idea even if anyone else will show up, so it's time to get started. Now, oh yeah, that might be the last time I smile in this video. Okay, this is not easy. So there's a movie coming on to Netflix now called Cuties. It's a live film, and Jen Aldrich is defending and promoting it, and it is pro-child molestation propaganda. So what she is doing is the most drastic kind of evil. The video is linked in the description. I'm not going to take time to show the video. It's pretty simple, and she makes some case to try to twist everything. So you can check that out if you want. And the only thing she shows to represent the movie at all, so that people have any idea what the movie is, all she shows is a poster from France that's like very innocent enough and not really a problem at all. And then she shows one from the Netflix that they look kind of like they're dressed like Britney Spears, or like inappropriately like cheerleaders or something, or I mean, it's not really much worse than like child gymnasts, which is very much an equal problem, especially considering some of scandals that go on in there too. But yeah, so compared to the actual movie, the poster that Netflix is using, and I guess it's probably the thumbnail image that's being called the poster, compared to the actual movie, it's nothing. And she tries to blame everything on the poster and say that this porno film starring, I think it's 4 11-year-old girls, and I should say pornographic film, not porno. Just to clarify, it's in. So all I did to check it out, first, a brother of ours called it to my attention. Brother CJ from the synagogue. I'll link some people in the description and stuff more later and stuff maybe, so you can come back and, or you can look up the synagogue. I'll spell it in chat for you. So he alerted me to this, and synagogue. I think that's right. So he alerted me to this, and some other brothers. We're keeping in touch better now. Some things have gone on. So we're, in some sense, being more independent. We're also being better coordinated. So he brought this to our attention, and I was like, well, how do we know what the movie actually is? Because Jen's trying to say that it's actually preventing the pedophilia problem by somehow empowering girls to not be victims. So they victimized 4 11-year-old girls by putting them into this movie to be ogled over by every creep who has Netflix that could creep that direction. And there's people who, they don't have Christ, and who knows what possibilities are dwelling in them, and they've decided never to give this any kind of chance, and that's good of them. And then if this movie comes up there and they think that watching it's somehow going to prevent pedophilia, and they give it some kind of chance and then start something, so it's really horrible, really, really, really horrible that this movie's going on Netflix. Everyone needs to boycott Netflix big time. And I couldn't put any words. I call it child molestation because there's no philia involved, but you can't use any words regarding the topic in your video titles because they'll take your videos down, from what I've gathered. So because of that, that's one of the reasons why I was a bit vague about addressing it. And I guess it was a form of clickbait, but it was an attempt to use very direct and honest clickbait. And it's just so terrible. And then I had to check it out. So after saying, like, how do we know what it is? I went and looked it up, even though I wished I didn't have to. And I hovered my icon over the thumbnail of a preview of it for just a moment. Just like my mouse cursor over the thumbnail. And the little image that like pops up to give you the preview of the video of like 1 bit here, 1 bit there, 1 bit there. It was horrible. It was so pornographic. It was so terrible. And that's why it says, God have mercy on Jen Aldrich, or don't. And I told you all how since I've been saved, I haven't been angry more than like maybe about 1 second per year. Like I might have a moment of anger about once per year. I remember 2 specifically. There might have been 3. And I'm like, that's not me, and I stop. But I had a righteous anger last night. It was more than indignation. It was anger. And I had to fight with my flesh to not think wrong thoughts because I was so angry for like 2 or 3 hours straight. And Jen Aldrich, if you are actually deceived somehow and confused somehow, and you're not this really, really evil person, you need to take down that video and you need to do another one. And this is despicable for the entire atheist community who has not rebuked her yet. So, an atheist, you better hope that this is Satanism. If you look at her color schemes of her bedroom, it's looks like she might be a Satanist. Who knows? Or she just thinks that kind of stuff's cool because she's bitter against God or something. But yeah, I would just say for atheists, you'd want to hope that it's a form of Satanism and not just that because she lacks God, she's this easily deceived by propaganda. So I'm hoping that we can ally with a lot of atheists on this one. And maybe they'll get to know our heart better and some of them will be converted, but that's not really what it's about. I'm just saying that, like, it doesn't have to be bad to ally with atheists. And on this we should. Brother CJ said it'd be okay if I mentioned that he mentioned to me that Skylar Fiction has been speaking against this movie. So Skylar Fiction, I want to ally with you and on this, and I would like you to do everything you can about this regarding Jen Aldrich. I would rather she just repent. And she said she got over 1,000 subscribers. She mentioned that during the video about cuties, which is just called cuties in all caps, by the way. Maybe with exclamation points or not, I don't know. But she mentioned that she got over 1,000 subscribers, and now she has 1,100. And I would hope that she would have, and that video has 500 views or more than 500 views or whatever. And I would hope that she would only have like 500 or less subscribers now. I didn't think this low of the atheist community to Well, I guess a lot of people didn't look into it. It sounds like the Rage has defended her. I don't know how specifically that is on this topic that he defended Jen Aldrich, but he said that he didn't see anything of the movie besides the two different posters. So she tried to blame the entire problem on the poster. The poster is nothing compared to the movie, but she tried to blame the entire problem on the Netflix poster. That is incredibly deceptive. The only representation she gave, she claimed that the more innocent poster represented the movie better. That was what she implied the whole time and claimed. That's her spin on it. You can watch it. The link is in the description. So I have some scriptures to read, and I'll bounce around some. I'm not quite thinking perfectly clearly at the moment. At the same time came... Oh, I'm not screen sharing. Let me go ahead and screen share too. Application window. Bada boom. Let me see if I can just do it this way. Okay, I'm in control. Okay. Here we go. At the same time came the students unto Yeshua, saying, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of sky?" And Yeshua called a little child unto him, and said to him in the midst of them, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Amen, I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of sky. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of sky. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receives me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which trusts in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offenses, because it must needs be that offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense comes. Wherefore, if your hand or your foot offend you, cut them off. Atheist community, cut Jen Aldrich off. I know you're not believers, but there's stuff that makes sense here. This is logical. This is reasonable. And cast them away from you. It is better for you to enter into life, halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if your eye offend you, pluck it out and cast from you. It is better for you to enter into life with 1 eye rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire. Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, because Christ says unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of our Father which is in heaven. Because the Son of Man is come to save that which is lost. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, does he not leave the 99 and go into the mountains and seek that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoices more of that than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in sky that one of these little ones should perish. Moreover, if your brother shall trespass against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he shall hear you, you have gained your brother. But if he will not hear, take with you 1 or 2 more. So atheist community, you need to do something about this, or we're going to have a field day with you. This If you want any chance in the battle against God, if you want to continue that battle, you need to not give us this free pass to just tear you all down. Because this is the sickest, most disgusting thing. The only thing I've seen this bad on YouTube besides this is besides Jen Aldrich's video, is the TED Talk promoting that we need to have like a category for child molesters to be accepted in society so we can help them not molest children. So moreover, if he shall trespass against you, if he will not forgive you. Yeah. So you'll want to go to her alone. If she will not hear you, get a couple more. That in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell unto the church. So that is, go to your whole community. But if he neglect, and of course this is awesome advice for us, church, because we've been going through some things. But I want to empower you, atheists, to help protect children. And we can band together to just cast this movie down, you know? We can do this. We can at least do a lot in favor for the right side of it, and we can do it together, you know? Yeah, so this is the kind of person the Iron Charioteer is. Well, thanks for making atheism look bad. I'll let you stay around for that. I don't have words for how low I think of you right now, Iron Charioteer, so I'll leave you alone. Put him on timeout, guys. Here, Gavin, I don't have this open. I'm going to give you wrench, Gavin. I'm going to trust you the wrench. Well, or did anyone else time him out for me? No, Gavin. So, but please don't, Gavin, use this based on how you feel on it, but based on how I'm trying to run my stuff. And please time Iron Charioteer out for me. Oh, Sunflower, thank you. So, here we go again. Sorry about that. I'm doing my best to stay in full control. If ye shall neglect to hear them, tell unto the church, and if ye neglect to hear the church, let him be unto you as a heathen man and a publican. So that means fully reject her. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So these messages really are for the church, of course. Whatsoever, and specifically for people sent out by Christ. Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth, ye shall be bound in heaven. Shall have been bound in heaven. It's kind of more clear at what that means. And whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be what has been loosed in heaven. Again I say unto you, that if 2 of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father, which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Okay, so now, what is the meaning of salt in the Bible? This is just real quick to establish something for the Christian audience as we get into the next part, because Christ is saying some things together on purpose, you know? Like the woe unto whosoever harms one of these little ones, but if someone trespasses against you, so you see, we're not going to take forgiveness 70 times 70 times for someone who trespasses against one of these little ones. That's for someone who trespasses against me. So there's reasons why he says these things like at the same time. What is the meaning of salt in the Bible? I don't know how accurate this is. I don't know how good the source is, so I didn't provide the source in case it's not a good source. But, we have the Bible, and this is just showing that I'm not just making stuff up. It's food for thought. In the Bible, salt means at least 3 things. It makes food tasty. It preserves food, and it used to be part of the sacrifice made to God. About the last meaning, it says in Leviticus 2:13, put salt on every grain offering, because salt represents the covenant between you and God. You must put salt on all your offerings. So in the Bible, you read many times about the role of salt in relation to the covenant between God and the people. I got to say, like rotting and sugariness go together, so we don't want to let sweet words rot our community. And about the tastiness, Job 6:6 says, can that which is unsavory be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the of an egg? Salt of the world. Later on, Yeshua tells his students that they are the salt of the world. If they are not making any difference in the world, they act like tasteless salt. And you can conclude that the Christians have to go out into the world, out of the salt shaker. Otherwise, they used a lot less salt back then, actually. You don't want to be shaking on your salt. You just want the tiniest pinch. You don't want to give yourself a heart attack. Otherwise, they can't do their job. So, yeah, you got to come out of the salt shaker to do your job. So we're not taken out of the world, but we're protected from the world. Interpreted in a practical way, followers of Christ are there to preserve society from rotting away, to give it taste, and to point to God's covenant. So, it's good that we have some of us in this community keeping us salted and not just ripening to rottedness over sweet words. Mark 9, and he came to Capernaum, and being in the house, he asked them, what was it that ye disputed among yourselves by the way? But they held their peace. That actually says, but they were silent, because by the way they had disputed among themselves, who's the greatest? And he sat down and called the 12 and said unto them, if any man desire to be first, shall be last of all, and servant of all. And he took a child and set him in the midst of them. And when he had taken him in his arms, he said unto them, whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receives me. And whosoever shall receive me receives not me, but him that sent me. And John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in your name, and he follows not us, and we forbade him, because he follows not us. But Yeshua said, forbid him not, because there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. Because he that is not against us is on our part. I think this has to do a lot with our flaws. And hide Iron Charioteer. I'll unhide him later so that we can point him out again sometime when he wants to help us. So, Iron Charioteer, if you're a Christian just pretending to be an atheist to make them look bad, we have to use truthful means. So stop doing that. Okay. Now, for he that is not against us is on our part. So even if people are doing flawed things and stuff, we forgive, and Christ is the center of everything. So we got to keep Christ center. Now, of course, people who are not keeping Christ center, or who get people to ignore what the scriptures say about Christ, that's very different. For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because ye belong to Christ, verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. And there's spiritual symbolism in that water, I think. And whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that trusts in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea. And if your hand offend you, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed than having two hands go into Gehenna, into the fire that never shall be quenched, where the worm does not die, and the fire is not quenched. And if your foot offend you, cut it off. It is better for you to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into Gehenna, into the fire that shall never be quenched, where the worm dies not, and the fire is not quenched. If your eye offend you, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter into the kingdom of God with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into Gehenna fire. Now here, where it says God, atheists, since I am kind of trying to share our advice with you, let me read it in a word that might give you some idea how this makes sense. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter into the kingdom of truth with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire, where your worm will not die and the fire is not quenched. For everyone shall be salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt have lost his saltness, wherewith will ye season it? Have salt in yourselves, and have peace, have shalom with one another. So, yeah, let us have peace, and let us be salty. Let me see what Smokey said here. I didn't quite read it, but I trust him. Iron Charioteer loves child abuse being normalized. Realize the disgusting social cancer that is atheism and the type of gutter trash people that dare adopt it. Yeah, some of you can try to make atheism look a whole lot less bad through this. You know, I mean, I'm going to put it this way. If Jen Aldrich does not take it back and she remains a welcome part of your community, I'll use that against you forever. Literally. Well, I mean, I may get tired eventually, I guess, because so many things are going to happen. So many things are happening. I'm supposed to be on hiatus. That you can't just, if you're on hiatus, but you're the soldier present on the wall, you know, you can rest on the wall. Like that could be a hiatus from other things that soldiers do, you know, but you still got to do your job on the wall. So I typed a few things that I can read from. Oh, I was going to open saying this is going to be an epic one. I got to keep it in an hour because I committed to being available after a certain time today, and I got confused. I thought we agreed on a specific time, but when I reviewed it, I said I was available, so I made myself available and rescheduled this. So let me see. When I heard about cuties, I thought I was hearing about a cartoon for girls to watch, which is a bad influence by showing cartoons of sexualized children. As bad as I know things are, they are worse than I could have imagined. Jen Aldrich, you know better. Atheist community, you know better. Big Eva, that's right, in the mainstream church, you know better. So, yeah, Jen, I mean, she made this video 2 weeks ago, but I didn't follow the atheists before because I didn't realize how vile they can get and how important it was to keep an eye on them. Like, we have to babysit atheism as Christians because that's how bad it is. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, and the way they laughed at us for like policing our own community and not really exactly knowing how to do it yet, you know, well, we sorted it out and we're ready to go forward and stuff and do our best. And that struggle was a part of doing our best. And you guys have something that's a way bigger deal. And if you don't struggle over this because to you is just like some casual game or something. Well, to us, it's serious. We look into it seriously. We know what's true about it. You guys have no idea, to be honest. But regardless of all that stuff, let's come together against this. I'm offering to. So if you guys don't offer to, then, I mean, I don't know what that does for like public opinion or whatever. And you know, public opinion is not the right reason to do things. And if I was trying to like convert you to Christianity right now, I would in no way let public opinion be part of that. I want to prevent a damage that I cannot stand. That's all I want here. Jen Aldrich, you are so disgusting. This is so foul. It is unbelievably evil. Okay. Whew. So, I told you guys to hide him. Hide Iron Charioteer. And, I will unhide him later. Oh, you did hide. Oh, well, anyway, it still shows up on my screen even after you hide him. Sorry about that. And I'm really on the edge right now. I really don't mean to like get aggressive with people who are totally on my side. I have body chemistry going, and I take good responsibility for that. So I'm not. It's been a long time since I've had a difficult body chemistry in me. So like this much. So I gotta keep that self-control. Not really. Okay, so we're gonna watch some stuff from AD Robles. Unfortunately, is actually about Big Eva on this exact same topic. This video just came out maybe a few days ago or yesterday or something. And Ryan's eager to have me on his channel, so we can all go there next. Let me make you a mod, Ryan, so you can post the link. And okay. Oh yeah, thank you, Gavin. Oh yeah, so when I went and saw him hidden, you guys are on lag, so I saw it before you even heard me talk about it. So you guys had already hidden him before I flipped out. Okay, so moving on into this really important stuff. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna listen to him because we're not gonna call out only atheists and not call out Big Eva. And this is why it's important for us to follow Christ himself and not be swept up in these spirits of the world that are trying to sweep the church, you know? And the way, I mean, we're a debate community. We're right there on a lot of important truths. So it was really petty the way it swept through here, but it did sweep through here too. And actually, if they had been on less petty of topics, it would not have been able to sweep through here, you know? So that's a good thing about us. But the spirits of the world, they're doing... So this video, it says in the thumbnail, simping for pagans. So oh, I got to turn it way up, which means I got to turn other stuff way down. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I'm not sharing this at all whatsoever. So first I'll do that. You'll see. So this video like advertises him, and I think I already linked it in the description. So a little rant, share audio. Okay.
I'm just furious. I'm just absolutely furious. And I just wanted to explain, you know, why I have this fury that I have in my heart right now. Because the reality is like, it's...
And I'm not going to speed it up at all because he's expressing important honesty and emotion, which I need it. So it should be at the same speed. And I don't know if we're going to watch all 20 minutes. It's possible. I might have to do a part 2 of this video even, which wouldn't hurt. I mean, the bigger a fuss we can make about it, the better. Big time. I mean, I would really like everyone with the channel making your ruckus about this in the right way. And, you know, it's a time to choose words really correctly, you know? Like, because that other video about Jen Aldrich, like said, I'm gonna roast the thought, and then I checked some of it out, and it wasn't really important from my perspective. I didn't even watch that whole stream, to be honest. So I'm just saying, like, we want to be really effective here. So let's just do everything just right. Let's be brutal, but let's be so just right that it's even more brutal.
It's very difficult for just a regular person like me to keep everything in front of me, like to keep all the plays that are being currently run on the church in America. There's just so many of them, and they're coming at you fast and furious. They're coming at you all simultaneously. So to keep them organized and straight is a very difficult task, and I don't think any one person can actually do it. But there's just so much going on, and I have to wonder, like, does Big Eva know what it's doing? Like, is it self-aware? Like, do they know that they're being what their role is in the zeitgeist right now, or is it just accidental? They're just trying to be liked. They're just trying to go with the flow. They're just trying to go with what's popular. So they're just participating unwittingly, but they are participating. In the end, it doesn't really matter, because you gotta destroy untruth the same way, whether it's intentional or accidental. It still has the same result. But I often wonder about this, because if it wasn't intentional, like, they're doing such a good job that it might as well be intentional. What I mean is, last month, if you remember, Big Eva was following essentially what the world was doing, the zeitgeist, and they were reporting about how QAnon is the most dangerous thing ever, right? QAnon is the most dangerous thing that our country faces in 2020. And it's just like, everyone was dunking on it, right? Like that Ed Stetzer put out an article, Joe CIA operative Carter put out an article. Some chick wrote an article. I don't even know her name.
I'm on mute. Well, it wasn't too important what I said. Just so you know, when he says CIA operative Carter, he's that's tongue in cheek. He's referring to something he said about Carter, whoever he is exactly. And yeah, here we go.
Who cares? But they all write an article.
But this is really important, what he's saying, that they're saying that this QAnon is the most dangerous thing ever, or whatever. That's about to be really important.
These major think pieces about how dangerous QAnon is and how satanic it is for a Christian to get involved. And everyone was dunking on it, because let's say you had a list of 1,000 problems in the United States, right? A list of 1,000 problems ranked from the most important to the least important. QAnon would be in the 900s, no question about it. Like, it's one of the least important problems that our nation has right now, that people might believe some wrong things about child sex pedophile rings, even though they do exist. Like, they believe some wrong things about them. So that's the most dangerous thing ever. That's satanic. Like, if you had to list the problems, it would be near the bottom of the list of important problems in our country today. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And people were dunking on this all day. And this was last month. And then this month, what happens is there's a Netflix show with 11-year-old girls showing their breasts and bumping and grinding each other and things like that. Now, if you oppose that, you're QAnon. That's the.
So you guys catch that? What's going on? And there's propaganda in mainstream evangelicalism to push this. He's only talking about propaganda that's coming through mainstream evangelicalism. This is the only thing he is addressing in this video.
The play. This is Melissa Ryan chick. Tulsi.
We have people. We have hands to cut off. We have eyes to pluck out. We have feet to cut off. People. We got to do this, or he'll cast this whole body into hell, and it'll go to someone else.
Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat. She, a squirrel finds a nut every now and then. A broken clock is
okay. By this body, I don't mean the universal church, but I mean, for instance, if this mainstream evangelicalism wants to survive and not be cast entirely into hell, it has to cut these people off, And atheism, truth is after you. And if you want to survive, it looks like atheism's not going to survive. It's going to be some kind of new agey spirituality or something. It really looks like you guys are losing, and they're going to twist it into something else that we still don't get to win yet. The atheists, you guys are really losing. It's not like you're immune to this, and you need to cut her off, or we're going to throw you into fire, all of you as one.
Right, twice a day. She's against the softcore porn that Netflix is putting on with children actors. And now that because she's against that, she's now QAnon. So you see how the play works, and you get.
You see, so someone, and I have been pausing it, so sorry if I've interrupted it, so it's hard to follow. But he's mentioning a woman who came out against this. So now she's QAnon, which just conveniently was talked about all last month. So now she can be ignored because she's wearing a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, right? And look, like, have mercy on those of us who are like asking questions that sound silly to you at times, because when there are deceivers out there purposely deceiving, people can't tell what the truth is, and we can't just be completely naive to it and be totally played. So, I mean, I tried to handle it as carefully as I could, and I definitely said some wrong things about someone, and I said some possibly incorrect things about someone else, and but I couldn't just be naive and do nothing either. And so we're in this difficult situation because of deceivers. We are told to be harmless as doves, but cunning as serpents. So yeah, if you guys can fully help us out when things like that happen, we can fully help each other out. And let's kind of blame the more deceptive people for the fact that there's confusion. Let's not blame the most honest people for not being able to tell if deceivers are deceiving or not and stuff. You know what I mean? So let's.
You get morons like Joe Carter to say that QAnon's satanic, and then later, if you oppose, sexualization of children from a mate.
So he was calling this out back when Joe Carter was just going against QAnon. He was calling it out as propaganda and stuff. And then now we see what it was a setup for. This is horrible. The devil is working against us. There's real stuff going on here. And that's where we're at. If not us, who? I know some people just thought you were watching some YouTube videos, being in a side chat. You didn't really, you support us, you help us. Some of you send me emails that are helpful and supportive and stuff like that. And you're there supporting us. And that's a huge part of this, because we're nothing without having audience, But then also, like, where you are in some level of sphere of influence, you want to speak up very effectively too, of course. So we're totally one team in this. And yeah, so he called it out as propaganda before. Now we see what the play is. And did Joe Carter know that this was the next play? Probably not. Even if he is CIA and they're, they need to have someone to purposely set this up, even if that is the case, he probably doesn't know what the next thing is, that's going to happen. So, but I mean, who knows if he is or not? That's not the point. The point is just that, like, this is a deliberate propaganda setup. They're in order to promote child molestation. The world is so evil. This is so bad. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth.
Major corporation. I'm talking Netflix. It couldn't be a bigger corporation doing this, right? Netflix. Now you're QAnon for being against that. You see how this works? And it's the same thing with conspiracy theory. You say some conspiracy theories are satanic, and then the next day, Trump saying that there are people organizing a lot of these protests. That's a conspiracy theory. Now you're satanic. Do you see how this play is working? Is Big Eva complicit in this in a self-conscious way, or are they just idiots, right? Are they just being used? Are they just being played so well like a fiddle that they don't even know what they're doing, but they're doing it, right? They're helping the zeitgeist move forward. They're helping the lies march forward. Again, it doesn't matter. This must be put down, right? We need to put down Big Eva. It's just that simple. But the reality is that
So he wants to cut off all of Big Eva just as a dead branch and cast it into the fire. And he's probably right. I mean, Some of the best from Big Eva I used to listen to some, but I've given up on every single one of them, even John Piper. We'll see what like Paul Washer maybe says against this or something. But I recommend Grafted Church. They're Torah keeping, but they're not like weirdly Torah focused. They're really beautiful, very Christ centered. So okay, I'll see you soon, Ryan. I will attempt to be on time.
They couldn't do it better if they were trying. So I think that they probably are trying. This is probably intentional. I think that Ed Stetzer is probably compromised. I think that Joe Carter is probably compromised. I don't think there's any real reason to doubt this at this point.
So are there secret people to do schemes if there is a plot for something like promoting child molestation? If there is a plot for promoting something like child molestation, and you have to do it in secret, right? And then you have to do it effectively, so you have to account for certain portions of the culture, then measures have to be taken. I mean, I'm sorry, it sounds like, conspiracy theory or whatever, but it's just, is there things going on or not? I mean, so I think at some point we're eventually being very naive. Like, this doesn't just happen accidentally, suddenly. No.
These people are part of the zeitgeist. They're doing it intentionally.
But what's more important is that whether they're doing it intentionally or not, we've got to cut this off. Because I'm not necessarily like agreeing that I know. I do say that's what it looks like.
Got their orders to talk about QAnon, and so they talked about QAnon. Now, maybe they didn't know why they were talking about QAnon. Now, a month later, it's been revealed, because now if you're against the sexualization of minors, you're part of QAnon. So now you got to be against yourself, or I guess repent in sackcloth and ashes. I don't know. I don't know if their handlers told them the whole story of what was going to happen. All they said was, Joe, it's time to write an article about QAnon. Hey, lady from Christianity Today, it's time to write an article about QAnon. So they said, yes, sir, like dutiful little soldiers. Or did they know that it was going to be a whole play to sort of like anyone who's against child?
And that's the thing, right? It's not like they necessarily have to be CIA or something. There could just be certain influencers that on them that get them to write the article, or there could be people in the business positions in there who. But eventually, you're saying someone's compromised. It's sort of the same story either way. But you just need one person, and there's no way of knowing who that one person is, right? Who literally is passing orders and stuff. But yeah, this is propaganda, so something's going on.
Predators is QAnon now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know which one it is. I don't even know which one it is.
Yeah, so the play is anyone who's against child molesters is now QAnon. We're now conspiracy theorists. So according to Joe Carter, we're satanic for being against this disgusting film.
Is better. Would you prefer that they're just that idiotic? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But then the other thing is, Big Eva has to find its testicles again. Obviously, their balls have fallen off. This is Ryan Osinski. He said this on Twitter. Ryan Osinski. I have no idea who he is, but this is the kind of guy that Big Eva produces, right? This is Big Eva approved kind of stuff, right? He's a Anyway, let's who cares who he is? He says this. He says, if you are horrified at the film Cuties, the film has accomplished its purposes. The dance routine clip isn't glorifying the sexualization of young girls any more than the flogging scene in Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ glorifies flogging. Disgust is the point. So he's using his big brain. He's got his big boy brain.
I love you, AD. You're a good brother. Who, AD caught a lot of flack for a long time, and he's getting vindicated. And we got an AD around here. He might be maybe not quite as practiced and spot on in his level of approach or whatever, but he's also getting vindicated. You know, our own guy here in our community, he's getting vindicated by this. You all know who we're talking about. So, yeah, and her video was so deceptive. Smokey saw some of that video and he's the one who wanted something against her. And he wasn't even alerted to be like, oh, that's what I need to hit her on, you know? I saw that in his video about her, that he had watched some of this video about cuties, you know? So we're one body, we're one team, and CJ knew exactly what was going on. He brought it to our attention. And after just hovering my cursor over that video, oh man, it was horrible. And so, yeah, the what CJ told me, which is totally correct, is that it would be like torturing animals on video and then making a bunch of money on it and saying you did it so that people would know that animals get tortured and they would hate that animals get tortured. Or, you know, that's, yeah, with the Joe Carr, or not Joe Carr's theory, whoever this guy is, who's like, and they have to get, you know, someone a bit smaller time on this because it's really controversial, you know? So hopefully that's somewhat of a good sign. And Big Eva is losing this whole thing. They want to go completely Marxist, which Marx had a very close relationship with the devil, according to his own writings. And one of the things he wrote in a poem was that he will howl curses on humanity in one of his Satanist poems. And this is public real information. So, yeah, I don't have time right now to bust out, you know, but yeah, so a lot of them want to go this Marxist direction. It's literally the spirit of Satan. It's not just a different evil spirit. This leftist thing, it really seems to be Satan himself, or whatever it's going towards, you know, the beast coming out of the sea, obviously. Whew. And yeah, the Roman Catholic Church is going to ride that beast, and they will go into destruction, and that's good news. Good news of the kingdom, right? Is there not the kingdom? So, sorry, tangent, maybe. I lost track, so let's get back into this.
And he's thinking big thoughts, and he knows that this is the.
Oh yeah, so there's another argument against it. So Scarface, right? Scarface posters on the walls of people who glorify Scarface. Now, when the movie Scarface was being released, it got an X rating, and they tried to make it a little more tame so it would get an R rating, and they did that a few times, and it was X every time, and they needed an R rating. So then they said, well, it's exposing a problem that needs to be exposed. So then they went back to the original version without taming anything at all. And so the most brutal version and rated R, and that's what we have today, and that poster's on the wall of gangsters and stuff, you know? And that's what this Cuties is, you know? I mean, these people are probably going to, well, actually, they're changing things, so they won't even have to want to be secret about it. I wonder if, like, before the 80s, if criminals had to want to be secret about it. Like, you know, what the, like, you know, whether you're, like, there's no 70s music that was like a subculture of like constantly, it's cool to end up in jail, get my life ruined because I'm so lame that I'm deceived by propaganda. You know, throw my life down the drain. So, yeah, you know, so, hip hop is like the most pathetic thing that ever happened in music history. It's, hip hop, rap, all that. I mean, I'm not saying no one can ever use that genre of music and do something good with it, but overall, that propaganda movement and the whole big thing in general it's one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. And Scarface, you know, that's like pathetic. And being pro child molestation, Jen Aldrich, like being all about child molestation and wanting to make it happen more, that's pathetic. It's vile. It's extremely disgusting. And there's no way I think you're anywhere near 1/10 stupid enough to not know what you're doing.
That was the point. You see the point was to disgust you through 11-year-old girls gyrating their pelvises. That was the whole point. And so mission accomplished. Big Eva's testicles have fallen off, or did they even ever have them? That's the other question. Maybe Big Eva never even had testicles, and that's the whole point. But the reality is, like this dude just enunciated what every single dude that got caught by Chris Hansen in To Catch a Predator said. Chris Hansen would ask him, "Why'd you send them child porn? Why'd you send them?"
So this is a show that used to exist where they would like pretend to be children who would meet up with child molesters and then expose these people as child molesters because, of course, there was not a child they were trying to meet with. It was these people setting them up to expose them. And here's what they would say every time they got caught trying to molest a child.
Pick. And the predator to the man would always say, well, I was just trying to warn the teen about the dangers of the internet. I was trying to horrify her so that she wouldn't be on the internet. And every single pedo says this kind of stuff. Every single one. You send them a picture of your penis and they're like, well, I was just trying to scare them straight. I was just trying to nuance things that are...
I got to save some time, unfortunately. You guys can watch this whole video, but I'm going to see if I can find him exposing problems really relevant to the church more. I'll probably do another video on this topic because I'm kind of getting cut short by what I agreed
obviously revolting. Nuance it to death and then always punch right. That's the conservatives are always wrong, and the liberals who are sexualizing 11-year-olds, they're right.
Yeah, so Big Eva trying to like nuance this, oh, you're supposed to be disgusted, so therefore, it's okay to put this in almost every like teenage boy, young man, creepy old dude, the whole gambit, right? Netflix is so widespread. For something like this to be coming out to Netflix, and let's face it, right? Like movies that are supposedly drama or this or that, they have like nudity and stuff in them on Netflix. Like it's offering a bit of like porn as far as business goes, right? As far as business goes, people will watch it for that reason. That's why it's popular enough to get on Netflix. So this is absolutely, there's nothing different about this here. I mean, any claims that the movie is somehow about something else or something, and literally all you gotta do is look up Cuties, the movie will come up. And if you can't trust me, I suggest you just trust me. I don't want anyone else to look at that. I'm worthy of that trust if you know me, you know what I mean? So you don't have to look at it for yourself. Just hover that cursor over. If you do have to see it for yourself, just for a moment, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to like see a lot and inspect it and stuff. I mean, I don't even know if it was a full second. The clips go by pretty fast. I saw a bunch of stuff. It was horrible. So there's some more stuff that I must let him say here.
Because they're actually trying to make this big brain point. It's just absolutely insane, right? And so the reality is that I'm not trying to pick fights unnecessarily, aggressively as I see fit. And don't tell me.
So this is where he says he'll do things as aggressively as he sees fit, and don't tell him not to. He's just sick of that. Now that it's come to this, and maybe this is why God had to sort of deal with this issue just before this moment. Because, Smokey knows the world is this evil. Smokey knows the world's that evil. That's what he knows. That's why he does what he does the way he does it. And I don't care if he's not perfect about it. I don't care about that. All of you who made his job hard, you were in the wrong. It's okay, but you were in the wrong. And we could have handled that totally differently. I mean, sorry to bring it up, but, community growth, This is important stuff. We're important. We're the light of the world. No one else is. Only those who trust Christ are the light of the world. Only those who trust Christ are the salt of the earth. Only those who trust Christ fear God, and only those who trust Christ have even begun to gain wisdom. And it's time that we know this. And it's time we stop thinking there's wisdom in other things. The wisdom is in the scripture. The wisdom is in the kingdom. The wisdom is in Christ. the wisdom. It's expressed in Torah. The true wisdom, the wisdom of God, the only true wisdom.
That's wrong. Don't tell me it's for these pagan pedophiles. When you do that in the right winsome kind of way, you can come to me. We'll talk about it and we'll see who's who. But the thing is, you're not doing it. You're a nation for sheriff in our county, right?
Okay, so this is interesting.
Just won the Republican nomination for sheriff in our county, right? And this is not a registered Republican or anything, but here in my county in New Hampshire, we've got a tranny Satanist that just won the Republican nomination for sheriff in our county, right? And this is the fruit of not finding your balls, right? Not actually doing things, not actually taking ground. Instead, always playing defense and always playing nuanced winsomeness with pagans. Stop doing it. We've got a tranny Satanist who's won the GOP nomination for sheriff in my county. This is incompetence to the nth degree. So if you have
incompetence to the nth degree. I'm just going to take a moment and on behalf of the whole community, Smokey, to thank you and to apologize. And if anyone's against me, like, for speaking for them, I don't care because we're one in Christ. And so I'll speak for us.
Problems with the way that I say things. You have problems with the way that I'm doing things. I don't care. That's what the point. If you don't have a theology that has room for fury at that kind of thing, actually perverse situations and having them gyrate and torque in front of them, and
so this part's really important. I'll close on this. Yeah, Jen Aldrich, you're called out. Atheist community, we're asking you to step up. Oh, my email, sorry, is proclaimerofthemessiah@gmail.com. So, here, if I just pull this back, you can see it, Proclaimer of Messiah, after my first name there, after the comma, Proclaimer of Messiah@gmail.com. And that's all one word. And yeah, we can come together and be opposed to child molestation, that's a common ground that we're hopeful a good amount of the atheist community will still meet us on.
And that if you don't have a theology that allows you to look at sick people that want to normalize, men oogling and desiring and wanting to have sex with children and putting them in sexually perverse situations and having them gyrate and torque in front of them, all while saying how big-brained it is. Oh, it's 40 chess because you see the discuss was the point. If you don't have a theology that has room for fury at that kind of thing, then your theology is completely worthless. It is.
See, if your theology does not have room for fury, Big Eva getting on the wrong side of this. We have to cut off limbs now. We have to pluck out eyes. We have to cut off feet. We have to cut off the branches and cast them to the fire. That time has come. Things are getting real. So, and Smokey is far from being one that needs to be cut off. But, here in this community, just everybody be humble so you're only in your own place. And God will put you in more places if that's what's meant for you at this time. So, yeah, that look on his face. This is so serious, and it's time we all know that real life is real. These girls are real, the ones in the movie, and the ones in the future who would not have gotten molested if this movie had never been put on Netflix. And I don't know if it is on Netflix or if it's just going to be or something. But if it does go on Netflix, there are going to be girls who never would have been molested who are going to be molested, and that's tragic and that matters. So as one, let's all step up to this, and atheists, you can team up with us on this one. And this is why we must just trust Messiah